friends, this is Anirban Bhattacharjee and welcome to our channel Hello to Code. This channel is mainly about programming and some of the technological trends. To get things started, we have decided to take a programming language which is currently in the trend, and that is Kotlin. In the 2017 Google I/O, Kotlin was announced as the official language for Android. Kotlin was first released in 2011 and currently the release version is 1.1.4. Now, about the name of Kotlin, the name originated similar to the way that Java originated from an Indonesian island. Kotlin is basically a name of an island near St. Petersburg, near Russia. And the architects of Kotlin, led by Andrei Breslav, named the language as Kotlin. Basically, this tutorial is about Kotlin, the programming language. Now, after having an insight about the programming language, we'll slowly shift towards the fact that how Kotlin is being used for Android development and how it is very, very useful for us. Now, getting into the business end, let's know more about Kotlin.
So getting into the standard features. First is the typed language. Now, some of you might not be knowing what is a typed language. Typed language is something where a type of a variable is determined either in the compile time or during runtime. Now coming to Kotlin, it is strictly a statically typed language like Java, C++, C#, and the list goes on. Now in Kotlin, the variables, or whether immutable or mutable, you declare are always statically typed, means the type will be determined at the time of compilation only. Now this saves the margin of error for the at runtime because your type is already predefined and predetermined. So this saves of some unnecessary hassles. Now to make it further precise, let's take an example for the same. Now here, this is the IntelliJ IDEA, like you can download it from kotlinlang.org for free of cost. In here, we can see a function. This is how a function is being declared using the fun keyword. The fun keyword denotes function in Kotlin, and here it's the main function we are declaring, args. It doesn't take array. We'll get into each and every aspect of these things later. But for the time being, since we were focused on the type determination, we have declared a variable which is mutable, and mutable properties are determined using var. So the value which we have declared it to be of type string, and we have given an empty string for that. Now whenever we try to assign an integer to that string, the compiler throws an error. The integer literal does not conform to the expected type string. Now this is where the essence of statically typed language lies in. Since the value is of string type and it has already been determined, it cannot be assigned to any integer literal. So the main thing to take from here is that the variable are assigned to the types, not the values to which they are assigned to. In Kotlin, the compilation is similar to what the compilation happens in Java. Here also the code is converted to bytecode by the JVM, and then it is converted to the respective machine levels code, and that's how a Kotlin's program is being run. So this part of Kotlin makes it 100% interoperable with Java, as internally it uses the JDK compilers only. Another part of Kotlin is its Lambda support. Now support for the Lambda expressions have been introduced from Java 8 and onwards. Now, since Kotlin supports lambdas and lambda functions, lambda expressions, so this is the aspect where we can make full utilization of the functional programming via Kotlin. Now, coming to the most heated part of the discussion, which many people are currently having, that is the comparison between Kotlin and Java, Kotlin versus Java. So All these points which I have jotted down here, these are based on some observations and also based on some of the articles which I have been going through of late. First thing which is noticeable is the compile time. Now, there have been a lot of experiments conducted on the compile time. Talking in respect to an Android project, if you make a clean project build, you can see the Kotlin takes slightly a bit more time than what Java does. But when compared to the incremental builds, that is the builds which we make every time we make when we make small changes in our code, the incremental builds through Kotlin are way much faster than those are in Java. Now coming to the second point, Kotlin has a lot of powerful ingredients which gives the developer a lot of power. We have seen in our Java projects there are tons of util classes, and as the project's length increases, maintaining them are a big pain. Now, actually, in Kotlin, we can remove all those utils and all those kind of classes by applying the extension functions to good effect. Now, let us see an example. This is an extension function. Suppose we have a date object and we want to extract the exact month in words as a string. Now in utils we would have written a static method in an util class. Here what we can do is that here we are presumably writing the method get month as string inside the date class, and we are performing the operation and returning the object, and this means the from the respective object where this method will be called. Now let's see the application, how it is used. Now we have a variable, an immutable one, date, which is of type date, and it takes a date object. Now here in the object only, this method comes as a suggestion. This is an application of how extension functions work. Through this, the util classes will no longer be required, as we can create the methods within the classes where we require. The next most important feature of Kotlin is its non-nullability. Kotlin strictly differentiates between the type null and type non-nulls. Now in big Java projects, they are literally plagued by vulnerabilities of null pointer exceptions. And the best we can do is surround the potentially null pointer exception causing places by a try catch block. But that doesn't solve our problem, it deteriorates the quality of the code. Now through Kotlin we can achieve this with relative ease. Now here we can see that I have declared two variables, one is nullable and the second is non-nullable. In Kotlin, this question mark character determines nullability. This nullable variable is a nullable type string, means it can contain null. Whereas the second variable, non-nullable, is strictly of type string and it must not be null. Now let's check its application. If we try to assign the nullable as null, the things work fine, just fine, because we have already specified that this nullable variable is of string nullable type. Now let's get to the twist. If we try to assign the variable non-nullable as null, the Kotlin compiler will throw an error. Null cannot be a value of a non-null type string. Now since we have already specified that this non-nullable must be strictly a string, so it cannot contain null. Now this is the area which saves programmers from a lot of potential harm causing null pointer exceptions. So coming back to our presentation, we have already seen how extension functions work. Now there are a lot of standard extension functions in Kotlin which does nothing but it gives abundant amount of power to the developer. We'll be going through each and every one of those in the videos to follow. While we generate Pojo classes in Java, we have to separately generate the getters and the setters. We have to write code for that. But in Kotlin, that is actually not required. those things, those redundant stuff actually happen under the hood, and the Kotlin compiler takes care of it. We don't have to worry a single thing about that. One might argue that the getters and setters are not actually a headache because those are generated by some of the IDs automatically. But still, if those things don't need to come in front of us, it's better if they stay under the hood, as those are not much required. Lastly, Kotlin stands with its three main powerhouses, which are extension functions, an example of which I have already explained in this video. Second comes function expressions and higher order functions. Now, Kotlin provides active support for each and every one of those, and we'll see how our code can be empowered by applying all these three methodologies in the videos to follow. Now, that sums up our introductory video about Kotlin. I hope you are now quite much knowledgeable about Kotlin's features and how it stands apart from Java. In our next video, we'll be creating a sample code in Kotlin. So that's it for this video. See you in the next video.